Let's talk about one of the most frustrating things we do as humans, self-sabotage. We're going to get into why we do it, what our brain is actually trying to do when it happens, and most importantly, how we can gently break that cycle for good.
So, have you ever been right there on the edge of something great? A new job, a great relationship, maybe even just a new workout routine that's actually sticking. And then, just when things are going well, you do something to mess it all up. You procrastinate on that big project, you pick a fight over nothing, you tell yourself you're not ready. It's a feeling almost all of us know, right?
And at its core, that's exactly what self-sabotage is. It's this bizarre thing we do where we get in our own way, even when we desperately want something better for ourselves. So let's really dig into the why and figure out how to move forward, not by shaming ourselves, but with some real, genuine understanding.
Okay, let's kick this off with probably the single most important reframe you're going to hear. Self-sabotage, it's not what you think it is. It's not some deep character flaw or a personal failing. It's actually a protective instinct that's gone a little haywire.
Yeah, we tend to call these behaviors things like laziness or weakness or a total lack of discipline. But what's really going on under the hood? It is 100% self-protection. Your subconscious mind is literally trying to keep you safe from what it sees as danger, even if that danger is actually success or change or love. See, if somewhere in your past success brought on a ton of stress or a new relationship ended in heartbreak, your brain took a little note. It cataloged that experience as something to avoid at all costs. And here's the thing you have to understand. Our brains are absolutely wired for consistency. They love familiar patterns because from a survival point of view, the familiar stuff is what's kept us alive so far. So when you try to change, it creates this uncomfortable tension in your head, a real clash between the person you've always been and the one you're trying to become. Psychologists have a term for this: cognitive dissonance.
And that tension, it sets off an internal alarm. The second you start acting in a new way, like, say, you start going to the gym every morning when you've always seen yourself as not a gym person, your subconscious just slams on the brakes. It's basically yelling, whoa, wait a minute, this isn't us. And it will do pretty much anything to pull you right back to that old, familiar identity.
So what does this actually look like day to day? Well, it might be overthinking a great opportunity until you've completely talked yourself out of it, or maybe starting a new project with all this energy only to ditch it the moment it gets a little tough. It can even be something like stirring up drama in a perfectly healthy relationship because things just feel too calm. These aren't just random failures. They're your brain's outdated security system running on old software.
So the first big idea to really let sink in is this. Your brain isn't your enemy. It's not actively working against you. It's just scared. It's operating on old programming. And the only way to start updating that program is by approaching this whole thing with compassion, not criticism.
So, understanding why we sabotage ourselves is a huge first step. But what happens when that protective instinct just keeps running on a loop year after year? Well, the cost is so much bigger than just a few missed opportunities. It's this quiet, slow-motion erosion of the single most important relationship you'll ever have, the one you have with yourself. Think about it. Every single time you tell yourself you're going to do something, get up early, finish that report, eat a little healthier, and then you just don't, your mind files that away. It might not seem like a big deal in the moment, but all those little broken promises, they start to add up.
And over time, that quiet little internal whisper of, see, we never follow through, gets louder and louder. After a while, that whisper hardens into a core belief about who you are, and that's the real damage. It's not the one time you failed, it's the story you start telling yourself because of it.
And this, right here, is the ultimate price. When you can't no longer trust your own word, you start playing small. You stop taking risks because, deep down, you're just afraid of disappointing yourself one more time. The very foundation of your confidence, your self-trust, it just starts to crumble. We love to call this staying in our comfort zone, but let's really question that for a second. Is that zone actually peaceful, or is it just familiar? Because let's be honest, sometimes the place we know best is actually a state of slow self-destruction. So the real point here is this. The cost of self-sabotage goes way beyond the promotion you didn't get or the book you didn't write. The real gut-wrenching cost is the lost identity. It's the version of you that could have been if only fear hadn't been writing your story. Okay, so how do we fix this?
The really good news is that we absolutely can heal this cycle. But it's not about brute force or more willpower. It's about a gentle shift from just being aware of the problem to truly transforming it with a few practical steps. So, here's the roadmap. First, we just name the pattern without any of the shame. Just say, okay, that's my protective instinct showing up. Then we trace it back. Where did this come from? Next, and this is the game changer, we redefine safety by building trust through tiny little wins. Those wins help us build a new identity. And the glue that holds all of this together, choosing self-compassion every step of the way. Let's zoom in on that redefined safety part, because this is where the magic is. Your brain needs new proof that change is not a threat. And you give it that proof with super small, almost laughably easy actions. Keep one tiny promise to yourself every day, like just drinking 1 glass of water first thing in the morning. Instead of saying, I'll do it later, try, I'll just work on it for 5 minutes right now. The goal here isn't perfection, it's just participation. Every small win is another brick in that new foundation of self-trust. And this is really the heart of it all. You just can't hate yourself into becoming a better version of yourself. It doesn't work. Beating yourself up doesn't build discipline, it builds fear. You can only understand yourself into transformation, and that takes a little patience.
All right, this brings us to the final and honestly the most empowering part of all this. Once you start putting these steps into practice, you actually begin rewriting your own internal story. A new identity is literally waiting for you.
This is the fundamental trade we're making. The old fear-based belief says, staying small is what keeps me safe. The new, powerful truth is, no, building self-trust is what creates real safety, the safety I need to actually grow. I want you to think of it like this. Every time you keep one of those tiny promises to yourself, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. Now, one vote might not feel like it changes the election, but over time, all those votes add up and they become your new identity.
And this is the ultimate reframe. The next time you feel that old, familiar pull to procrastinate or just give up, you can pause and tell yourself this. I'm not sabotaging myself. I'm protecting the new version of me. You're not sliding backward. You're actively shielding your future self from those old, fearful patterns.
So let's end right here. The one core message to take away from everything we've talked about is this simple, powerful idea. You are safe. You are safe to grow, you are safe to succeed, and you are always, always safe to begin again.